Fishing is one of the major additions to Cobblemon in the new Record Catch update, introducing a new way to find Pokemon. However, when you're starting, it might feel a little overwhelming with so many aspects to fishing. But don't worry, I've got you covered. This is the ultimate Cobblemon fishing guide. To make a Pokerod, you'll need 3 items. First, you'll need a Pokerod smithing template. You can find this either by fishing, by looking for them in abandoned fishing boats or shipwreck coves, or by buying them from a fisherman villager. Next, you'll need a vanilla fishing rod, just the basic Minecraft fishing rod you already know. And finally, you'll need a Pokeball. Each kind of Pokeball will give the Pokerod different appearances, as you can see here. I'm partial to the netball just because it keeps within the fishing theme. You'll need to put all 3 items in a smithing table, and now you've got a Pokerod. Before we go fishing, it's important that you understand how Pokemon spawn in Cobblemon. The chance a Pokemon will spawn in any given biome is affected by their rarity bucket and weight. You can see this in the Cobblemon spawns file, which I will link in the description. There are 4 kinds of rarity buckets in Cobblemon: common, uncommon, rare, and ultra rare. Common Pokemon have a 93.8% chance to spawn. Uncommon Pokemon have a 5% chance to spawn. Rare Pokemon have a 1% chance to spawn, and ultra rare Pokemon have a 0.2% chance to spawn. Each Pokemon is assigned to be in any one of these buckets. Then, each Pokemon has a weight. The higher their weight, the higher percentage of the bucket they will cover. So, if a Pokemon with a weight of 1 and a Pokemon with a weight of 9 are in the rare bucket, they will take up 10% and 90% of the rare bucket respectively, making their effective rate 0.1% and 0.9%, since they have to share in the rate of the rare bucket, which is 1%. Now that you understand how Pokemon spawn in Cobblemon, let's talk about fishing. The 4 main aspects that affect what Pokemon will spawn from the Pokerod are location, enchantments, bait, and bobbers. Let's talk about location. To determine the best location to fish at, we need to refer to the Cobblemon spawns file. There are 5 columns you need to pay attention to: context, rarity bucket, biomes, excluded biomes, and conditions. The context column shows whether the area that the Pokemon can spawn at is grounded, submerged, on the surface of the water, on the seafloor, or fishing. We need to check the column to make sure that we are looking at the rows for fishing. Then, for the rarity bucket, we need to choose the row with the most favorable rarity bucket. Then, for biomes, it shows which biome tags the Pokemon can spawn at. I say biome tags because these aren't the actual biome names, but the biome categories. We can see which biomes these correspond to in the biome tags list, which I will link below. On the other hand, excluded biomes show which of those biomes are being excluded. Finally, conditions are just special requirements you may need to meet to make the Pokemon spawn. Let's try this with Dalmais. Context: these are the rows for fishing. Rarity bucket: well, common is the best. You'll notice that there are 2 rows left. That's because there's usually 1 row for when the bobber has a clear line of sight to the sky, and another when it doesn't, in which case you'll need to meet the skylight requirements. Okay, let's go back. Biomes, ocean biomes. To check which biomes fall under ocean, we can check the biome tag list. We can see that we can use these specific biomes. Excluded biomes? None. Conditions? Shipwreck. In summary, to have the best chance to catch a Dalmais, we need to fish in an ocean biome, specifically near a shipwreck. Moving on to enchantment, there are 2 enchantments we can add to our Pokerod: Lure and Look of the Sea. The effect of the Lure enchantment isn't consistent across every Pokemon. Each Pokemon responds differently to different lure levels. So, to determine what lure level you need to use, you need to look at these 4 columns in the Cobblemon spawns file: context, rarity bucket, conditions, and multiplier. For the context column, we'll need to look at the rows for fishing. For rarity bucket, we need to look at the most favorable rarity bucket. And conditions are just special conditions for the Pokemon to spawn. Now, multipliers mean if you have those, then you can get a multiplier for the Pokemon spawn chance. Let's try it with Alomomola. Context: these are the rows for fishing. Rarity bucket: the best is common, so we'll follow that. Conditions: minimum lure level needs to be 1, so we use lure level 1. Multipliers: lure level 3 has a multiplier of ×3, so now we'll use lure level 3. Now let's move on to the other enchantment, Look of the Sea. Look of the Sea increases the chance of getting Pokemon from rarer buckets such as uncommon, rare, and ultra rare. You can see how much it affects each bucket in this table here. This means that if the Pokemon you were trying to catch is in the common bucket, you actually don't want to have the Luck of the Sea enchantment. If the Pokemon is uncommon, rare, or ultra rare, you'll want this enchantment at level 3 if possible. Luck of the Sea also adds treasure items such as Deep Sea Scale, Deep Sea Tooth, Dragon Scale, King's Rock, and Prism Scale to the fishing loot table. Increasing the level further boosts the chances of getting them over junk. Next, we need to talk about bait. To add a bait to your Pokerod, simply drag it to your Pokerod and press right click. Now, how do we choose which bait to use? Well, each bait has a different effect. To help you choose, I've categorized each into 11 distinct types. Let's start with bite time baits. These reduce the time for a Pokemon to bite. For example, sweet berries cut the bite time by 12.5%, while citrus berries slash it by 50%. Next, item rate baits alter the chances of getting items instead of Pokemon from fishing. These also have the secondary effect of reducing bite time by 25%. On one hand, custom berries triple the chances of getting an item, while mickle berries completely prevent catching items. Egg group baits make Pokemon from certain egg groups 10 times more likely to appear. For example, lumberries boost monster and dragon egg groups, while chesto berries boost human-like and flying egg groups. Just check online to see what any Pokemon's egg group is. Typing baits make Pokemon of specific types more likely to show up. For example, Oka berries attract fire types, Wakan berries attract electric types, and Katseb berries attract ghost types. Next, level baits increases the level of attracted Pokemon. Lepa berries increase the level by 5 and Hopa berries increase it by 10. Nature baits increase the likelihood of encountering Pokemon with specific stat boosting natures. There are 4 tiers of nature baits. Those that provide a 25% chance, a 50% chance, a 75% chance, and a 100% chance. The 100% chance nature berries guarantee that the Pokemon you encounter will have a nature that boosts a specified stat. For example, raspberries offer a 25% chance of attracting Pokemon with an attack boosting nature. Then, figgy berries offer a 50% chance, and toga berries offer a 75% chance. Finally, spellon berries guarantee that the Pokemon you reel in has an attack boosting nature. Let's say you're trying to get the adamant nature. While these berries don't guarantee that you get adamant, it takes it from a 1 in 25 chance to a 1 in 5 chance. Next, gender baits increase the chance of encountering Pokemon from a specific gender by 25%, with Moringa berries boosting the chance of male Pokemon and Key berries boosting the chance of female Pokemon. Then, Ivy baits boost IVs of specific stats of the Pokemon you reel in by 5 IV points. This includes Lansat berries for HP, Lychee berries for attack, and Salac berries for speed. Then, Eevee baits boost the EVs of the Pokemon you catch by 100 points, like Pomig berries for HP, Kelpsie berries for attack, and Tomato berries for speed. Finally, there are special baits that bring unique bonuses that no other berries offer. Enigma berries give a 5% chance of attracting Pokemon with hidden abilities. Starf berries doubles the chances of finding a shiny. Then, Jabuka berries increase a Pokemon's base friendship by 100 friendship points. For now, row-up berries have no effect, but they are planned to increase the chance of marks. You can also use the sweets that you give the Milcery to evolve as baits, but right now, most have no effect, aside from the Love Sweet, letting you fish for a special heart pattern Wooper. And so, this is the list of all the types of baits in Cobblemon. However, there will soon be even more baits. Plastard Crab, the lead developer of the Cobblemon fishing mechanics, informed me that in the future, players will be able to combine 3 different berry baits into a single bait. This will allow for more optimization and advanced fishing strategies. Then, let's talk about bobbers. When I first made my video about the 1.6 update, I said that the bobber you chose is just cosmetic. However, this is not true in all cases. There are 2 Pokemon that actually need certain bobbers for them to spawn. Similar to the Love Sweet, you can actually catch a heart pattern Wooper if you use a Love Ball as the bobber. Another example is Wishcash. Using a Master Ball as the bobber allows you to find a larger version of Wishcash. But compared to the normal Wishcash, this is a rare spawn, so it will be harder to find. Apparently, this is a reference to the Wishcash in the anime that ate a Master Ball thrown at it. By the way, if you ever need to, you can swap out the Pokerod's bobber by putting the Pokerod in a splitting table with another Pokeball. And so, those are the main factors that affect fishing. To summarize, these are what we need to pay attention to when fishing. In the Cobblemon spawns file, We have context, rarity bucket, biomes, excluded biomes, conditions, and multiplier. Then, we have to determine which is the best bait and which is the best bobber to use. Let's say we're trying to catch a fee bass. Context, these are the rules for fishing. Rarity bucket, the lowest is already common. Since it is common, we won't be using luck of the sea. Biomes, overworld. This means any biome in the overworld. Excluded biomes, coast and ocean biomes. So we'll need to avoid those biomes. Conditions, lure 1 and slime chunk. So we need to make sure that we at least have lure 1 and are in a slime chunk. To find the slime chunks in your area, you can use this tool, which I will be linking below. Multipliers, there is a 5 times multiplier for lure 3, so we'll use lure 3. Bait, among all the baits, I found that Lumberry, which boosts the chances of Pokemon from the Dragon Egg group, which Phoebus is a part of, increases the chances the best. When it comes to the bobber type, it doesn't matter because Phoebus's spawn rate is unaffected by it. In summary, we can fish in the overworld as long as we are in a slime chunk and not in coast and ocean biomes. Then we will only be using the lure enchantment and not luck of the sea. Then we will be using a Lumberry as bait. All of the multipliers combined, this results in a total multiplier of 50 times for Phoebus' spawn rate. Now let's try it out. When trying to fish for Pokemon, you don't actually need a water biome and can just fish in water anywhere, even just one block of water. You'll soon start finding some Feebas and probably start even catching multiple Feebas in a row like you see me doing here. And so, that was the ultimate Cobblemon fishing guide. All of this information might feel overwhelming, but if you ever need help, this video will always be here for you to reference. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. I had a big decision. Which starter should I choose? I went with Squirtle. Why? In Cobblemon, the Squirtle line has access to both Mega Evolution and Shell Smash,